y'all, I'm Kitty, and this podcast is mine, Missing Murdered Unidentified in New England. I cover cases from the New England states of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Each episode takes place over the years of January 1st, 2010 to December 31st, 2020, and based on sources, some episodes will be long and others will be short as these cases don't generally have much information available. All of the research, scripting, opinions, and mistakes herein are my own, and I will offer updates and corrections when possible. I do not trigger warn for wounds as they are a necessary part of the narrative. I will trigger warn for such topics as suicide, animal death, domestic violence, etc. as needed. Now with that, please listen in as I tell you about February 2014. February 4th, 2014. Chris always came home. Chris always called me, no matter what, said heartbroken mother Nina Cancel of her son Kristopher Lewis. Kristopher is missing, and has been missing, since February 4th, 2014, and his disappearance has hardly been covered. Kristopher was born on July 20th, 2000, and was only 13 when he vanished. Kristopher is black and Hispanic, with a scar on his lower lip and a scar through his left eyebrow. When last seen, Kristopher was 5'1", 87 pounds, with brown eyes and short black hair with a design shaved into the side. He was wearing a navy blue shirt, brown pants, white and red sneakers, a black sweater with red writing on the front, and a black pea coat at the time of his disappearance, police said. Other reports have Kristopher wearing a yellow backpack, khaki pants, a blue navy polo shirt, a black coat, and white Nikes, and could or could not have been wearing glasses. Kristopher was last seen when he was 1 block away from home as he walked with friends at the corners of Morton and West Selton Streets. Kristopher should have been home by 5:30 p.m. that day, and by the time 6 p.m. hit, Nina called police to report Kristopher missing. According to Nina, Kristopher's mom, Kristopher's family tried to bring this story to the media, and his family called all the news stations and they refuse to play the story. The police refuse to call me back and let me know what is going on with the search. Boston PD, as a whole, seemed very unconcerned with the disappearance of young Kristopher because he had allegedly run away from home before, being found on Dorchester Ave in the Fields Corner area, a claim that Nina denies. Kristopher will be 24 this year if still alive. Please call 1-800-494-TIPS with any information. February 20th, 2014. 25-year-old Kenneth Rowell Jr. was a resident of Dorchester prior to being discovered shot at 11:33 p.m. on Itasca St in Mattapan, Massachusetts on February 20th, 2014. No other information is available. Please call 1-800-494-TIPS with any information. February 20th, 2014. Paul John Bonin is missing. He has not been in contact with his friends or family since February 20th, 2014. Paul was last seen in the late afternoon of February 20th, 2014 on North Main and Washington Streets in Concord, New Hampshire. When he was last spotted, Paul was wearing blue jeans, a gray jacket, a purple hat, and boots, and may or may not have been carrying a backpack. Paul was 50 when he vanished and will be 60 this year. He is 5'3" to 5'4", 130 to 135 pounds, with partially gray to fully gray hair near his shoulders, and was rocking a beard at the time he disappeared, and has blue eyes. Paul, like many others, struggled with homelessness and had a small criminal record due in part to the bullshit laws that are on the books affecting the homeless population of the U.S. Paul's public criminal history included a 2007 DUI in Alton, New Hampshire, a license revocal in 2011 for a DUI incident in Alton, an arrest on a bench warrant after being called to Concord, New Hampshire. During this Concord, New Hampshire incident at the Burlington Coat Factory, Paul was intoxicated and slurring his speech without moving, and then he blew a .288 on the breathalyzer test. Paul also had a 2013 summons for criminal trespass due to his involvement with a homeless encampment in Concord, New Hampshire, that was dismantled shortly thereafter, a summons for an open container of alcohol in public, as well as a February 7th, 2014 arrest for criminal trespass for being behind the Liquor Commission building and not leaving. This police activity would be the last that the public heard from Paul. If you know the whereabouts of Paul John Bonin, please call the New Hampshire State Police non-emergency phone number at 1-603-223-8778. If you have any questions, complaints, or concerns about the podcast you encountered here today, please message me at minepodcast@gmail.com. That's mine with 2 M's, 2 I's, 1 N, 1 E at gmail.com. And thank you so much for listening. Later, y'all.